Give us a countdown, Diabolus.
I'm giving the countdown. I give the countdown. Y'all shut up.
Alright.
Y'all got any of that content? Scratch his neck. Thank you, Brian.
Y'all got
Very
any
cool.
of that content? Okay. Am I streaming? Am I going? Am I reluctantly crouched at the starting line? Engines pumping and thumping in time. The green light flashes. The flags go up. I don't know the rest of that cake song.
For real this time.
We're live, boys.
I'm the first viewer.
Boys, you do realize we're still live, right?
All right. Ready. 3, 2. Okay, let's wait for some people to filter in. Gimme a man after midnight. Somewhere help me take the shadows away. Gimme a man.
You know this is on YouTube, right, bro?
People have done worse on midnight than sing ABBA.
Go
Try the
over here
unmute
anymore.
button, Gold.
Yeah, try the unmute button.
Hold up, I can hear myself.
Yeah, because everyone can hear. Everyone that's not you can hear. You. What? Why? It's. My thing says it's doing the audio thing.
I hear it.
Yeah.
Go at the unmute button, Gold.
Yeah, it's working for me.
Let's
go
try
right
the
over here
unmute
anymore.
button, Gold.
And this is still live right now.
Yeah.
How much we learned our
Okay,
lesson?
we're good. All right.
Okay,
all right.
we're good.
I'm 31. Okay, yeah, we got it.
Alright, focus. Ready, tiebreaker?
Take the shadows away. Yes. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our grand debut on YouTube of the Golden Ham Day podcast. Of course, you got me, you got the analyst extraordinaire, Diabolist, and the hot take machine himself, and my good friend, Showstopper, who needs no introduction. How we doing tonight, guys?
I'm doing good after an hour of, technical issues.
An hour of that. Shh, that never happened.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about it. Delete this. All right. Gold, it could have been worse. You missed me, whisper singing ABBA for 5 minutes before the stream started. All right, so it's my specialty, holding hellos for way too long. All right, let's get right in the news. And I feel like to celebrate this momentous occasion of us starting up on YouTube, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification. And if we hit 1,000 likes in the next 30 seconds, we'll do the exact same thing next week. All right, so let's get right into it. Where's the schedule?
Recap.
All right, recap. All right, so first up, Denver Tech at NSU. How'd this
The upset.
Yeah, the upset, of course. The Brian Shinosky fueled upset. What a
Ben
game
Shinosky.
this was.
Ben Shinatsky?
I said the Shinosky powered upset. I didn't say a first name. Okay, anyways, moving on. And what was it that I said at the beginning of the season that y'all called me crazy for saying?
That Denver Tech was going to fall off a cliff?
Exactly.
I don't remember you saying that.
Exactly.
I don't remember you saying that.
I said Denver Tech was going to fall off, and y'all laughed at me, and they finished the season they finished the last 4 games of the season 1-3. I think
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Yeah. from back-to-back national championship appearances to
I mean, they had to come down at some point, right?
Yeah, they had to come down at some point, but I don't know. I didn't expect. Honestly, I called him Brian Schnosk. Okay,
That's embarrassing.
apologies. I never meant to confuse such a high-tier quarterback with Brian Street. My bad. All right. So hit us with the stats for this one.
All right, so the Prairie Dogs beat the Rush 31-28. Total yardage was almost equal, 396 to 391 in Nebraska State's favor. Rushing yards was pretty lackluster for both teams. Both teams did most of their damage through the air. 300 plus yards total for passing, less than 100 for both teams rushing. Third down conversions, Denver was a little bit better on third down and fourth down as well. They had 2 tries and they completed them both. Nebraska State had 3 tries on fourth down and only did it once. But I think the difference in this game was the 2 turnovers committed by Denver, and those gave Nebraska State the room they needed to pull this upset.
All right.
Tiebreak, I'm sorry, my friend. You were right about all of this.
Oh yeah.
Denver Tech was gonna fall. Denver Tech was gonna fall off a cliff. I made fun of you for being a Coloradan. I thought you on some stuff at the time, and I like to say my apologies. You know, this game got a lot of backlash, the officiating, but I think the officiating was good. I think Nebraska State just outplayed Denver Tech, and they did what they needed to win the game. They did what they did. Ben Shinowski, I'm sorry, you're not trash. You're decent now. And that's my take on the game.
Music to my ears, hearing Showstopper eat his words.
Hearing Showstopper grovel at your feet.
Like a fine wine. All right, moving right on along. ACU and Ardmore. What a slugfest. And I know someone is going to be very happy that Ardmore won in the comments, but we'll get to that later. Hit us with the stats, my good man.
Yeah, this game, the stats are very, very misleading. If you look at this, Ardmore won 29-22 over the Spartans, but you look at the stats and ACU outgains Ardmore in total yards 426 to 236. That is a drastic margin in the total yardage. Ardmore did better on the ground with 150 yards rushing to ACU's 36, but in the air, ACU had 390 total passing yards to only 86 for Ardmore. So, and you look at the third down conversions; those are both 50% exactly. But you look at the turnovers: 3 for ACU, 2 for Ardmore. The turnovers were pretty big for Ardmore. Yeah. They capitalized off those. But I think you look at these stats, it was just I think Ardmore just out finessed ACU. Like, they took the opportunities they gave them with those turnovers. They made the most of those, and Ardmore's defense held up when it needed to.
Oh yeah.
This game, Stanfield, him being a freshman, it showed out there today. It showed he was rusty out there. He wasn't ready for prime time. But I have to admit, the coach, Ardmore's coach, he was smart by doing a quarterback switch, which was, they had a backup upperclassman who plays like John Hicks. Hicks is better, but similar system. So Ardmore went back to their old ways of playing, and they just dominated the ground in time of possession.
Yeah.
They needed to do what they did, and they won the game. Now, Yuba fans became Ardmore fans for that day.
Hold on. We're not there yet. Calm down. Don't jump ahead. And yeah, this game was, it was a nail biter because correct me if I'm wrong, but in the first half, Ardmore was like bailed out by its defense, correct?
Yeah.
With like the 2 clutch picks by
McQuarters.
yeah, Harlan McQuarters. Without those, I don't think that Ardmore wins this game, plain and simple.
Yeah, McQuarters was reading Vajic that entire first half.
Yeah. Stanfield.
He was a big reason why
Yeah.
Ardmore was able to win this game.
Yeah, he was really the sort of the X factor of this game and the unsung hero.
Now, the one question that I think gets raised about this, with ACU losing this game and Broken Arrow winning, that means ACU doesn't get into the conference championship. They don't even get there.
Yeah, that's
with the stacked roster that they have. So is it just another failed year for the Spartans? What are your guys' takes?
I think this is another classic ACU year of be really, really good on paper and not get it done to end the year. Of course, they were sort of Denver Tech's how do I say this and keep our PG rating? Yeah. They were just Denver Tech's whipping boy for 2 years, and then they've just evolved into not even making it. Brian Street, McQuarters became a calf. No. If you say that again, I will smite you. So yeah, just you gotta wonder.
Well, because I was getting the impression that this was going to be ACU's coming out party, because this was supposed to be, because Denver was clearly coming off of the whole Timmons isn't here anymore. Makovich might not be like the end all be all athlete that will carry their program to the next level or something like that. And you expect an ACU with their loaded roster to be like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to win it this year, but they just don't get it done again. And you got to wonder, is it a coaching issue? Is it something else?
Y'all know me. Y'all know why I said beginning of the season that, if Corey, the head coach of ACU, they have became Michigan. They get all these blue blood players from these blue chip recruits, and they don't do anything with them. They get to the Big 12 championship, or they get so close to it, and they just choke when you need them the most. It's just y'all guys know me. I've been calling out for a lot of coaches to get fired this year. That's me. It's just I don't know where AC wants to go in this direction. Is Corey the man to lead ACU? I just don't. Vajic, I don't trust him. I just don't know. They miss Robert Bishop big time, but what are y'all's takes on? Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows with ACU?
I mean,
it's such.
I think something's got to change. I think they need a change of culture. Maybe just.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they should go and fire their coach just yet. I mean, it's another good season. They've hit the recruiting really well, but I think the coming up short like this, it hurts. And I think ACU just needs to rock the boat for better.
I think
or
next
worse.
year is Corey's. He has to win next year. They have to.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up being Lovie Smith, if you remember when he was at Chicago Bears.
Yes.
They went 10-6, missed the playoffs, and he got axed for it. And I feel like that's the sort of pressure that they need to put on. They need to put on their coach, because obviously something's not going right.
Yeah, and the coach is always the first place you look for when the team is just not meeting the expectations that have been placed upon them.
Especially when it's college, because, of course, in the pros you could put to, it's this one player, but not when the players are all replaced in 4 years. You can't really look towards the players being the reason. It's generally a coaching issue. Especially when they've been through what they've been through of the three starting quarterbacks in 3 years. And yeah, they need to put some sort of pressure on their coach.
All right, so we're on to the next game, the benefactor of this loss.
Yep, the benefactor of this loss, Broken Arrow versus Little Rock, probably, and I don't think I'm out of line saying this, the two best quarterbacks in the conference, probably, Brian Street and Gunnar Rivers. The issue here being one of them has a really good offense with a lot of surrounding characters and a good line, and one is literally the Gunnar Rivers show. Because there's just no one backing him up.
All right, I'm going to hit you guys with the stats now. This game was pretty close. Little Rock did give Broken Arrow a challenge, but the Wranglers ended up winning 35-28. Total yards was 410 to 394 in Broken Arrow's favor. Rushing yards, both teams had pretty good success. 196 for Broken Arrow, 114 for Little Rock. 280 passing yards for Little Rock to 214 for the Wranglers. Third down conversion percentage was nearly the same. Both were near 2/3. And I think the difference here was that Gunnar Rivers was, you could tell he was forcing the ball a little bit because those 3 picks were definitely avoidable to only 1 for Street. So what are you guys' takes on this game? Because this did it for Broken Arrow. And also, on another note, Brian Street may very well have the Heisman locked up. He's just got to play that conference championship game well enough to beat out A.J. Turner.
Yeah, I feel like it's classic Little Rock. It's classic Little Rock fashion of, they just are relying too much on when they rely too much on Gunnar Rivers and are not building around him. They're wasting his college career. And
yeah, because I mean, like, what are you supposed to do? I mean, he's just one guy, and he's clearly the best person on the team.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, like, you have to make building around him a very big priority.
Oh yeah.
I got a hot take.
Oh, cool. Here we go.
Gunnar Rivers, he's overrated. I know he doesn't have help around him, but I think he's overrated. He threw 3 interceptions. He makes costly mistakes for supposed to be best one in the conference. He sure didn't play like it. Neither did Street. Street didn't play like he was best, but he got the win though. Gunnar Rivers, the media is overhyping him. The only reason they were in the top 25 to start at the beginning of the season was because they were overhyping him. They wanted, the Cinderella. They wanted Gunnar Rivers, the top quarterback prospect. And I'm not too impressed with Gunnar right now. I hope he changes it next season. Let's hope he gets some help. But Street got the win, but I still got A.J. Turner winning the Heisman.
Oh, yeah.
All right, is that all we wanted on that one?
But
on to the next game.
Of course, Showstopper's going to pick against Brian Street because you've had something against him from the day you stepped into this dynasty. All right.
What can I say? I'm lovable.
No. Okay, moving on. Odessa State at Camu. Hit us with it.
Yeah, this one was kind of a slugfest, a little bit different than what many people would have expected. Camu wins this one 20-10. Total yardage 293 to 234. Those are really low numbers, especially for a college game. The rushing stats is these offenses were so polarized, but it's exactly what you'd expect. Camu with 254 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Odessa had -11 total yards rushing, and the rest of their attack came through the air, 245 yards passing to only 39 for Camu. Interesting fact, and I think this was what killed Odessa in the end. They did not convert a third down this entire game. They went 0 for 11. Camu went 33%, which is, I mean, it's okay, but it was enough for them because the other team couldn't do anything themselves. Both teams had one turnover, but I think that third down conversion percentage is where the difference lied in this game. What do you guys' take?
I mean, I kind of hate how actually I really can't analyze it because it's all based on future information. So I'm gonna leave this one for Showstopper.
Alrighty. Now, I've been saying it. I've been saying it for weeks. You go 4-8. Everyone wants Stan Leach to have his job. When you go 4-8, to me, it shows you can't lead a team or program. You got good recruits coming in. I'll give you that. I think he's just a good recruiter. Everyone wants his job saved. I've been saying fire him. But that's just my take on it. He can't lead. He can't lead them.
Well, I mean, my argument against that would be that, I mean, he hasn't really built a cohesive team yet, I don't think. I mean, another class of recruits, he's got big Paris Austin, just a great recruiting class. Paris Austin, he's one of the top receiver. If he wasn't the top receiver, am I wrong?
He was second to Buchanan Simmons. Don't get me started on that one.
So yeah, you got one of the best receivers in the country coming, and I mean, I think you have to ride this guy for at least another year.
I just can't.
If he starts building these like super teams in Odessa and he's still getting like barely crossing 500, then you have a problem. Then your concerns are well placed. But right now, it's unproven. So I think you stick with Leach for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think let this new wave of recruits, let them sort of have his chance with them, and then make your decision. Because now he has a legitimate recruiting class, which they've never really had before, and I want to see how he does with this before I make my judgment.
I've already made my judgment.
Of course, we know.
Over the span of 3 years, he's the worst overall winnings loss record in the Big 12. Even worse than Amarillo. I don't know. I think a new culture has to be implemented. Because with this one, it's a losing one. They got a losing mentality.
I mean, I don't think you could maybe replace the coordinators, but I don't think you replace the head coach yet because he's done such a good job at recruiting.
I would say make the coach a different position. That's just my take. He's a good recruiter, don't get me wrong, but I've never been too impressed with him as a coach.
Oh yeah.
Another note on the other side of this game, Camu. I just want to bring up the fact that this team ran the table really well. They've won their last 5 games of the season, and they're looking really strong going into bowl season. I know they didn't come up short. They didn't get into the conference championship, which was kind of surprising that they were even in the talk after starting out 0-3. But they clawed their way back and won some key games to give themselves a shot.
It's in my opinion, it speaks to the sort of tenacity of this team, of like being able to take that and battle back to be in that Big 12 consideration. It really shows of the leadership on that team, and I really like it.
Yeah, and I think this team has a bright future for at least another couple of years. I think that they're like a legitimate conference champion contender for at least another couple of years, as long as Jace Freeman is there.
All right. Yep.
Camu, you gotta admit, we left them for dead after that 3-game losing streak, and then they ended up in a 4-way tie. You gotta admit, we did leave them for dead.
Sorry, yeah, when I saw that they were 0-3, I was like, oh man, because I actually thought that they would be like way more competitive. once they went 0-3, I kind of just took them out of my I was like, they lost their 3 games, and that puts them in a rut, and I don't think they're going to get out of that. I don't think there's any way the winner of this division loses 3 games. But sure enough, we had a 4-way tie. All of them lost 3 games. But I'd say Camu is probably going to get a really nice bowl game, and hopefully best of luck to them in that one. Let's move on to the next game, shall we?
Time to move into inconsequentialville. Shreveport at McAllen.
And this one wasn't even close. Shreveport was competitive for all of one half, and then McAllen just turned on the Jets and never looked back.
Yeah.
48-17, a blowout. McAllen outgained Shreveport 429 to 227, over 200-yard difference. On the ground, 209 on 3 touchdowns for running for McAllen, 260 for Shreveport. I don't think Skeeter fans like that stat line. And passing 220 for McAllen, 167 for Shreveport. And the third down conversions, 4 for 12 for Shreveport, 6 for 11 for McAllen. And I think the biggest stat that made this such a blowout was 3 turnovers for Shreveport, none for McAllen. McAllen was clean with the ball, and they were efficient in the red zone every time they got there too. They went 4 for 4 there. So I think Shreveport just kind of ran into a brick wall here, ran into the buzzsaw in McAllen. So what do you guys' take on this game?
I mean, yeah, I didn't expect much from this game. But I was hoping it would be competitive, but the talent difference really showed itself near the end.
There's going to be a lot of firings when it comes to coordinators this year. McAllen showed that they are the most inconsistent team. I feel sorry for Jean-Luc Martin. Technically, I don't. He got himself into this situation.
Whoa. That was quick. That was a quick pivot there.
I thought y'all settled your Twitter beef.
I'm not. I'm host. I don't know who this Paris Austin is.
Okay, so I just want to get out there. Like Shreveport, they clearly ran out of gas this season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they way overperformed, and they couldn't finish off to end the season.
I mean, I think that they should still hang their heads high, because this was a lot better than where almost everyone had them. But I mean, it kind of is a little bit bittersweet that they end on such a bad note. I mean, if they win their bowl game, which I think that they can, they're definitely good enough to do that. That caps off a pretty nice season for them. Just keep working at it. You might find yourself in something bigger, but just kind of like people started to get expectations for them when they saw that they were, oh man, this team's 6-0 and they're number 7 in the nation, or whatever week that was in. And then they just kind of started to meet the teams that were like actually the upper echelon of the Big 12. And then they finally started to see that, oh, maybe we aren't actually as good as we thought we were.
Oh, yeah.
But they have good building blocks to build off. Canatella is definitely their quarterback for the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Definitely a Big 12 freshman of the year contender.
Oh yeah, definitely. Canatella, he's a quality player. He'll be a really good quarterback by the time he's a senior.
And now, I believe
we have one last game.
The irrelevant bowl between Midland and the Amarillo.
Well, this game actually turned out to be a lot more relevant.
Oh yeah,
than what I initially thought.
It's way better and way more impactful than a Midland.
Do you guys think it was a good idea to save the blowouts for the last couple of games we recapped? Because this one was another one. 47-17, Midland absolutely dominated this game. 539 total yards to 294.
Yeah.
462 in the air for Midland, 196 for Amarillo. I mean, this was just not even close. The rushing numbers were the same, but I mean, that passing difference, that's too much to overcome.
Pretty much.
Amarillo was competitive
Yeah.
for the first half.
For about
Then second half,
seconds.
Midland just blew the doors off.
Yeah. So I feel like the best way to put this is to quote Heel Boy, and that this is a game that he would have probably pulled a skip on, where it's just like everyone knows that this game is going to go. It's not that big to cover it. What should have happened, and yeah. All right, now moving on to the big question that everyone has. Who wins the Big 12 West?
Oh, yes.
Drum roll, please.
Everyone do a drum roll. The winner of the West Division is the Midland State Mustangs.
Oh, yeah. And
now, I know a lot of people were surprised by this. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, I think the Camu Amber Wave deserve this spot."
Technically, didn't you write Midland State off too?
But no, it was they went by the tiebreaker. They decided to go for BCS ranking, and Midland hopped Camu, which effectively put them in the championship. So they will meet Broken Arrow in the championship. We'll preview that later on in the cast.
Oh, yeah. And now, topic 3, standings, where the teams finished, of course. Let's get the obvious out of the way first. Amarillo. I mean, it's Amarillo. Can you really?
Amarillo and Odessa State finished tied for last. Odessa State is technically finishing last, but it is Amarillo who gets the tiebreaker, because didn't the Armadillos beat the Dust Devils? Who did they beat?
I think they did. I want to say Amarillo won the toilet bowl with.
In the official standings, it has Amarillo as the 5th place team. And then you got the 4-way tie. Denver is finishing 4th, which is kind of crazy to think about. They went from 1st to 4th in a week.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Nebraska State, Kansas A&M, and Midland State from 3rd to 1st. And I honestly cannot believe that Midland State got the nod here.
Neither can I. Camu, they're protesting. There's no point in doing that.
Oh, yeah, Camu fans are a little bit
Camu
agitated.
just has to celebrate the basketball Big 12 championship they won. They just have to hold on to that.
And they also find themselves in the Final Four for their college team. So, I mean, you guys had a great season, definitely, for football. Don't hold your heads. Don't hold your heads low. I mean, it's kind of bittersweet that I do think that Camu should have been in. But I think Midland State was probably equally as deserving, because, it's kind of a weird tiebreaker with them, with Midland, Camu, and Nebraska State, because they all beat each other. And they just went with the team with the highest BCS rank, like the Big 12 back in 2008 did. So, yeah, that's how it ended. Midland State won it. You can argue about whether or not it's fair or not, but that's how it was. So
Yeah, it's just
that'll be the end of it.
Well, and do you want to keep rolling along to the where every team finished out in the standings?
Yep, let's go to the BCS standings right now.
All right, Shosto, take it away.
All right, hold up. We got Ardmore going at number 7. They still stayed in the BCS rankings. Dallas, how do you feel about Ardmore being number 7? Being 9-3.
I cannot believe that this team is still this high ranked. I mean, like, they're just not that impressive to me to be that high in the BCS rankings. Like, I think they should be barely like in the top 15 with that kind of record. I mean, they did beat ACU. I'll give them that, but other than that, they've had some pretty ugly losses. I don't know. I just don't think they're like. I just don't think they deserve a single digit rank, is what I'm saying.
Because we all know Dallas has slowly became, as they would say, an Ardmore hater, which I agree with Dallas. They lost to some of the top teams, and they're still higher than ACU at number 10, Broken Arrow at number 11, Midland State at
Broken Arrow
at
and
12.
Midland State, teams that they lost to, and they have same record as both of them, but Broken Arrow has a better conference record. So I don't know how Ardmore keeps staying so high. I feel like that's just. I mean, I don't want to say like there's like a little bit of a bias in the polling, but I feel like this has to be remedied somehow. I don't want to have to see Ardmore get humiliated for it to happen, but I feel like that's what it's going to take.
So Ardmore, they're slowly making me become. I don't know. I'm slowly not liking Ardmore because of they gotta have somebody up there if they're number 7 at 9-3. Because you have ACU at 10, Broken Arrow 11, Midland State at 12, and Kansas A&M at 13. There's something off about that.
I mean, Ardmore has been like, I don't want to say like mediocre because they haven't been that bad, but like take the term mediocre I'm about to use with a grain of salt. I mean, they're rewarding mediocre football with a top tier rank. You don't do that. And I feel like whatever bowl game matchup right now, they're projected to play Kansas State, who had a great year in the American. I feel like that could be a massacre. And do the bowl games really want to have one of the BCS bowls be Kansas State having a field day with Ardmore? I just don't see that being like a good decision,
Mm-hmm. All right, now let's get on to the bowl predictions right now. These aren't set in stone right now at the moment, but these are what they are having the teams right now. So let's get the first one. We got the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl. We got Shreveport versus Central Michigan. Do you guys think that's a good matchup right there? Central Michigan is 7-4.
I feel like it's going to be pretty even. And I think it's just going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, nice little wholesome bowl in Michigan. Central Michigan definitely going to have a nice packed house.
Oh yeah,
for that game. And I mean, I think it's a good game because Central Michigan MAC team don't exactly expect a lot from those schools, but and Shreveport on their current trajectory, which is kind of downtrending, it should be a good game.
Now we got the next one. We got the Holiday Bowl. Nebraska State versus Oregon. Oregon is 7-5 and they went 6-3 in conference play. This one, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. We got Nebraska State at number 20. With Nebraska State, you just never know which team is going to show up. Oregon, I don't have the best information on them. I just know their past history. But if I were to go with a team, I would go with Oregon in this matchup.
The one thing that I look at in this matchup is Oregon's 6-3 record. They're in the Pac-16 conference. That's a very, very strong conference. That's not a bad record. And they didn't do well in non-conference plays. They went 1-2. And they made up for it in their conference slate. So that's definitely going to help them with, in my eyes, I think that has them a little bit more battle tested because I think the Pac-16 is a little bit more of a gauntlet because I mean you got a lot of teams who are trying to assert their dominance, but also on Nebraska State's side they've been very competitive with the roster that they have, which a lot of people would say they can't compete with some of these bigger schools that have all this high-end talent, but they find a way to be right in the thick of things. Last year, they had a shot at maybe upsetting Denver Tech. They didn't do it, but this year they ended up, but they came up short again because that four-way tie. But I mean, Nebraska State, I think I would pick them in this game. I think Oregon will give them a good fight, but I think Nebraska State will win.
I just don't know. You know, I want to have to see when it's set in stone. I got to see how it's going to play out in the next few weeks. But we're going on to the Car Care Bowl. We got Oklahoma, 6-6 Oklahoma versus 9-3 Denver Tech. Denver Tech is number 19 in the country.
Man.
Yeah, Denver Tech is going to win.
What happened? Yeah. But yeah,
I mean, tiebreaker cursed them.
I am okay with that. But yeah,
I don't care how far that Denver has fallen. There is no way they're going to lose to a mediocre Oklahoma team.
Yeah, most definitely. This is going to be Denver Tech all the way.
Next.
All right. So I zoned out. We got the Armed Forces Bowl. We got Southern Miss versus McAllen. We got 6-6 Southern Miss, and we got 23 McAllen, and they're going to be playing in Fort Worth. I know this because they're playing at TCU Stadium. But I got McAllen winning this one. I'm not too impressed with Southern Miss. I think McAllen should get the job done and finish 9-4, but this is the same McAllen that plays down to competition.
Yeah, they do that, but I mean, for a big game, assuming they get up for it, I think it should be an easy one. I mean, McAllen, us average team from the Conference USA, I think they holds a candle to McAllen, especially after they're showing against Shreveport this week. I feel pretty good about saying that they'll win their bowl game if this matchup holds.
All right, now we got the next one. We got the Amarillo Bowl. Midland State versus Washington. Washington is ranked 24 at 7-5, and we got number 14 Midland State 9-3. I'm gonna go with a lot can change with this conference championship. This game might not happen if you think about it. If Midland State wins this, I see them getting a BCS bid.
Yeah,
for sure.
But this game is set in stone. I got Midland State beating Washington if it is set in stone, which it's not.
If this game happens, I got actually. Yeah, I'll stick with you, Showstopper. I don't see Washington being able to pull it off.
Yeah, Washington was a little bit of a disappointment. They started out with that opening night loss to ACU, and then
in Jerry's World,
and then after that they kind of just floundered around to 7-5. I think Midland State. Hold
up. Isn't this the same Washington team that Nebraska State played last year in the bowl game?
Yes and no. They're the same team, but
okay, that's what I was making
slightly
for sure
different.
On that one.
Clearly not as good because they were a very good team last year, but they lost to Texas in their Pac-16 championship, so that's why they got ousted from the BCS, which I still think was kind of a little bit of BS. But anyway, I think Midland should have this game if they do end up playing each other.
We got number 13, 9-3 Camu A&M versus 6-6 Rutgers in the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl. I got Camu winning this one in the blowout. I've seen Camu. When you see 6-6 Rutgers, you're gonna go based on stats and stuff, and I got Camu winning this one. You remember people out there, this isn't set in stone, but I got Camu versus Rutgers. I see Camu winning.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those big time mismatches that you get. I don't see this being close at all.
Yeah, if Camu does not win this one by at least 30, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of think Camu should get a little bit of it's kind of a little bit insulting just to get a 6-6 team, especially with how hot they are. I mean, you got to get them with someone on their level.
Mm-hmm. All right, now let me see the next one. We got 5-7 Little Rock versus 5-7 Pitt in the Heart of Dallas Bowl. This one they're playing at the Cotton Bowl. I know this definitely, but I was most surprised seeing Little Rock in here.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see 2 5-7 teams, and they're putting them together. I mean, do they really think that this? Did they seriously run out of 6-6 teams to get?
Yeah. They have to sort of scrape the bottom of the barrel for a team that is never
From
gonna
power
get in the final.
conferences.
Yeah.
I mean, you came up away with Pitt and Little Rock. I mean, Little Rock, I can definitely see why, but I mean, Pitt from the ACC, not a football conference by any means. In a bowl game, I feel like Little Rock should have this. Pitt 5-7 Pitt teams are usually forgettable. If I'm being nice.
I think West Virginia would have some words to say with you about that, but
Oh yeah. I mean, I would like to see a good game, but I just don't see Little Rock. I think Gunner Rivers could handle Pitt.
well, how many more bowl
All
games
right.
are on the slate?
We got. I know I saw this one. I think we have 2 more left. We got number 6 Kansas State versus Ardmore 9-3 in the Fiesta Bowl. I got Ardmore winning this one.
Yeah, I got
in my opinion. Udopolis,
Who are they playing?
Kansas State, number 6.
Kansas State. God, I don't know. I said earlier that I think Kansas State will win this game, and I'm gonna stand by that. I just think Ardmore is a little overrated, and Kansas State's been pretty good this year. They won the American pretty easily. They went 9-0 in that conference, 11-1 overall. I think Ardmore gives them a game, but I think Kansas State is probably the best non-power conference team in the NCAA this year.
Yep. So I believe that's.
Hold up, we got 2 more.
All right.
I lied to you. We got the All-State Sugar Bowl, Broken Arrow versus Ole Miss. I got Broken Arrow winning this one. No much more explaining to do.
Yeah, I got
We're
Broken
losing
Arrow in this
people.
one. Yeah. Let's try to keep it
All right.
short and snappy.
Let's go to the next one. We got the Cotton Bowl, Missouri versus ACU. Number 8, Missouri 22. Number 10, ACU. And now we got the 4-year Outlook championships. Y'all guys just want to skip this part?
Yeah, I say we just cut it here, and save that for like an off-season one. So.
Or do we want to preview the championship real quick? Conference championship?
Yeah. Well, the time we got to preview that one.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I got the stats for you. We got the West champion in Midland State, and we got the East champion in Broken Arrow. Both top teams, Broken Arrow has scored more points per game, number 8 in the country with 35.7 to Midland State's 32.4. Broken Arrow just beats Midland State when it comes to all sides of offense. Number 7 in total to, it's going to be a high-scoring game. I see no defense being here. We got lackluster rush defenses, but Broken Arrow wins that. Bryan Street accounts for most of that. But if you look at it, Midland State has the better pass, being number 2 in the country to Yuba's number 3. So this one is going to be a passing shootout. I see this one going to overtime, like that Texas and LSU game. Defense. Broken Arrow has the better total defense at number 2 to Midland State being 76 in the country. Both teams have a good rush defense, but Broken Arrow wins this one, 3 to Midland State's 5. Pass defense, Broken Arrow is number 116, and Midland State is 124, and Midland State wins the turnover differential 10-9. So what are y'all guys' opinions about this game?
This is going to be a shootout. I think clear and simple. The numbers don't lie. So I'm going to go with Broken Arrow purely on power of this one. So really not much to say until we actually see the game.
My take is I'm actually going to take Midland in this one. Mostly because I just want to be a little bit different because I feel like Uba's the popular pick. And I feel like they have to have a nice game from their defense. They have to be opportunistic, if you will. They have to be able to generate turnovers from Bryan Street. Hit him hard when you hit him because he will be running. And also, you have to take advantage of that shoddy pass defense. You are the number 2 passing offense in the country. You have to be burning them the entire game.
Yeah,
I think that Whiteside will be able to do that. He just has to not force throws when they aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it that Midland State can do this. I know on the other side, Bryan Street has a little bit more of a balanced offense with him. But I think that that glaring weakness of that pass defense for Broken Arrow can be exploited a lot by Midland State, and I think that's going to happen. So give me the Mustangs to win the Big 12 this year.
This is going to be an interesting matchup, like Davos said. You got Bryan Street. Then you got a defensive tackle who I think is, 6'10", I think 370 pounds, right? Or is that 390? But imagine running into that. That is a brick wall right there. And I'm going back and forth because I have my Pick'em championship on the line, first place, and I'm going to have to stick with my original predictions at the beginning of the season when we first started the podcast. Give me Midland State.
Oh.
It's going to cost me.
We've all locked in our picks.
Yep.
Tiebreaker, you got your picks in?
Yep. And now, with that, thank you for coming out to our inaugural live stream. Thank you, and good night.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's be real, there are no ladies listening.